Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm talking about the state of Wisconsin, where the Wisconsin Supreme Court refuses to hear a challenge to the state's congressional district boundaries before the 2026 midterms. So the way the political article breaks it down is the liberal-controlled Wisconsin Supreme Court last Wednesday refused to hear challenges brought by Democrats seeking to throw out the battleground state's current congressional district boundaries before 2026. The decisions, made without explanation from the court, is a setback for Democrats who had hoped for new, friendlier district boundary lines in Wisconsin as they attempt to win back control of the House next year. Democrats asked the court to redraw the maps, which would have put two of the state's 6 congressional districts currently held by a Republican into play. It was the second time in as many years that the court had refused to hear the challenges. Democrats hoped the court would revisit the congressional lines after it ordered state legislative boundaries redrawn. Democrats then picked up seats in the November election. It's good that Wisconsin has fair maps at the state level, but we deserve them at the federal level as well, said Democrat U.S. Representative Mark Pocan. Unfortunately, gerrymandered maps for members of Congress will remain in Wisconsin. Attorneys who brought the lawsuits did not immediately respond to email seeking comment. Republicans hold 6 of the 8 U.S. House seats in Wisconsin, but only 2 of those districts are considered to be competitive. 2 requests to reconsider the congressional boundaries were filed with the court, which is controlled 4-3 by liberal justices, so the Democrats do actually have the advantage on the court. One came from the Elias Law Group, which represents Democratic groups and candidates. The other came on behalf of voters by Campaign Legal Center. Democrats argue that the court's decision to redraw the maps for state legislative districts a couple of years ago opened the door to revisiting maps for U.S. House districts. They also argue that the current map violates the state's constitution requirement that all Wisconsin residents be treated equally. In 2010, the year before Republicans redrew the congressional maps, Democrats held 5 seats compared with 3 for Republicans. The current congressional map, drawn by Democratic Governor Tony Evers, were approved by the state Supreme Court when it was controlled by conservative judges. The U.S. Supreme Court in March 2022 declined to block them from taking effect. And last year, the state Supreme Court rejected a request to reconsider the maps without giving a reason why. One of the seats the Democrats hope to flip is in western Wisconsin. I'll be getting more into that in just one second. So the reason this is such a big deal, and I remember talking about this so much, was the Wisconsin Supreme Court election a few months ago, where the Democrats winning that election were very big because it keeps the Democrats' 4-3 majority on the Supreme Court. And the expectation was if a lawsuit was filed to change the congressional map in Wisconsin, well, then all the judges would have to do is vote along party lines and party ideology, and the Democrats would win 4-3 and redraw the congressional map in an attempt to make the map more favorable to the Democrats in time for 2026. However, with that being thrown out by the Supreme Court, that will no longer be happening. So you may, if this story is new to you, you may be wondering, well, what's the big deal? Well, right now, the current House map for the U.S. House of Representatives right now is 220 Republicans and Democrats 215. It takes 218 to have a majority in the U.S. House, so the Republicans have about a 3-seat majority in the House. The Democrats, obviously going into 2026, want to change that. They want to win the House majority back. And right now there is a consensus ranking on 270win.com of the competitive races, including one of them in Wisconsin being Wisconsin's 3rd district with Republican incumbent Derek Van Orden. Now, without the map being redrawn, it's expected this 3rd district is going to be very close, and come Election Day 2026, the Democrats may very well win this seat and flip it to the Democratic side anyway. But what the Democrats are hoping to do is to be able to redraw the districts in a friendlier way, where it's possible that the 3rd district would flip Democrat, but also the 1st district with Bryan Steele and the surrounding Kenosha area as well in Racine counties, that this district could also flip to the Democrats without too much of trouble. Now, both of these races will probably be competitive in 2026, but Steele is more likely to hold on to his district than Derek Van Orden is. And I would so much say that if I was making a prediction for the House today, Bryan Steele is likely to hold on and win. Just to give you an idea of how these districts are, Wisconsin's 3rd district is listed at Republican +3 for the incumbent Republican Derek Van Orden. This district, Wisconsin 1, is Republican +2. So the ratings are actually pretty equal in being lean Republican overall district. But when you look at the electoral history of these districts, it's a little bit different. This district voted for Steele by 10.2%. In 2024, Van Orden only won by 2.7. In 2022, Steele won by 8.9, Orden won by 3.7. In 2020, the Democrat kind won it against Orton 2.7%, but Steele won it by 18.7%. And go back even farther, we're Steele won by 12.3%, kind won by 19.3%. So the 3rd district, despite being slightly more Republican than the Cook PVI, is way more competitive than Brian Steele when he's at the top of Wisconsin 1. He won by 10 points in 2024. So even though the district is arguably less Republican, the 1st is less Republican than the 3rd, Brian Steele has an ability as the Republican incumbent to hold on and win this district more than even Derek Van Orden likely will in Wisconsin's 3rd district. But again, I'm making such a big deal about this because when you look at the overall map, as I mentioned, when you look at the incumbent party numbers, Democrats need 3 seats to win. If the court redrew the Wisconsin maps, well, you can guarantee a flip in Wisconsin 3 and maybe guarantee a flip in Wisconsin 1. This gets the Republicans at 218, Democrats at 217. The Republicans only would then have a 1-seat majority in the U.S. House. And if you've been keeping up with this, you'll know Republicans are currently attempting to file lawsuits to redraw the Ohio congressional map and Texas congressional map to give themselves more Republican seats for 2026. And they were trying to do that to ensure they can keep their majority in 2026, even in the possibility where Wisconsin would redraw theirs. So the Republicans were trying to position the map in Texas and Ohio to save their majority, which that could be a conversation down the road if that happens, how the map changes. But right now, if the Wisconsin Democrats could pick up those 2 seats, they only need 1 more seat nationally to flip the House. 2 seats that have been watched very closely are Iowa 1 with Marinette Miller-Meeks and Nebraska 2 with Republican Don Bacon. Both of these races have been top targets of the Democrats that could potentially be flipping in 2026. The Democrats just need then one of them, let's say Iowa 1, and then the Democrats would have the majority. But without Wisconsin's map being redrawn now, I'm not going to take away Wisconsin 3 because I do think it's very possible Democrats can win that one come November of 2026, but I would be very surprised to see Wisconsin 1 go to the Democrats. Then the Democrats can still win the House by flipping 3 seats, but they'll have to do an extra seat out of the state of Wisconsin. Whereas if the state map flipped, Democrats can almost be guaranteed to getting 2 Democratic flips rather easily. So this decision could have very important ramifications for the congressional map come 2026, where the Democrats almost could win the House majority back just in the state of Wisconsin alone. Now they may have a little bit of a tougher fight at trying to win the House back, especially depending on the Ohio and Texas decisions that should be coming in the coming months. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. Leave a comment below, tell me your thoughts, and I hope to see you in a future video.